worse with Flanagan. Looking back at the federal conservatives wandering in the electoral desert in the 90s, they too toyed around with ideas of non-competitiveness, vote trading, and even formal electoral reform until I guess Flanagan's wing and Harper's wing of the Conservative Party realized it would just be easier if they took over the PCs and instituted a policy of incremental conservatism. Effectively instead of complaining about the mountain not being where they are, moving to the mountain. So wouldn't it just be easier, seeing as there's two conservative parties here both gaining critical mass, if we just, or if progressive parties just move towards the political center and go where most of the votes seem to be, instead of coming up with all of these, interesting and complicated solutions of cooperating, which, I mean, if we want to go to the academic literature of Duverger's law and coordination failures as described by Gary Cox, who's a rational choice theorist, it seems almost impossible. Wouldn't it just be easier if these progressive parties move to the political center where all the votes are, instead of coming up with all these complicated scenarios?
Well, that is something that's been tossed around by our group a lot too, and questioning different ways of approaching this problem. So who would like to start with that,
Well, I guess it depends on how you define the center of the spectrum, right?
I don't think this is anywhere near the center, though. Just to sort of give my personal view of that.
You mean the Liberals and the NDP?
Oh, whatever's in this room.
Whatever's in this room. Okay, so you're making some assumptions. That's true. Okay, well, I mean, I agree with you that you have to go where the people are. And, Danielle Smith seems to be in the center. I mean, that's the way she's presenting herself. But, what happens when she actually comes up with a platform, we don't know. And what she might do when if she wins an election, where she will go, we don't know. But, I agree that people are in the center, and I do believe that the political parties in Alberta are not, even the NDP is not too far to the left. So I don't know that they're too far from their big market share, possibly.
That's very largely what I would have thought too. I have lived in different parts of Canada, and I must say that the NDP in Alberta seems to me to be a very bland, even timid left-wing party, and I view them as being reasonably close to the center. I think both the Liberals and the New Democrats, indeed the Greens also, are asking themselves that very question, because it is the height of ignorance and even arrogance for all of us to sit here and say, well, everybody but us is wrong, and therefore it's their fault. That is not the way politics works, and it's not the way politicians should work. But I don't think that there's anything really too complicated about the technique that we're suggesting. And indeed, I think that strategic voting has a fairly respectable history. I would remind you that many of us in this room who are not progressive conservatives voted for Joe Clark on the anybody but reform ticket when he won in Calgary Centre. So that we're trying to take a leaf out of that book. And while I have seized the mic here, I'll just reply to Doreen's point about the public endorsement idea that we have. We very much want to use the web, paid advertising, word of mouth, whatever we can, to make our public endorsements obvious and very vocal. And one of the things we're looking at is a website with a map which you could click and get not only who's running, but what we think should happen there. Thank you.